You're listening to Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with your host, Matty Conrad.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I'm, of course, your host, Matty Conrad, and I'm really excited to introduce you to my guest today. Now, this is somebody that I've seen around a lot. If you've ever been to a hair show, he is absolutely impossible to miss. Not just because he's a large physical presence, but because his presence on the education stage is never outdone. He stands head and shoulders above almost every educator I've ever seen. And I'm super excited to talk to you today with my friend. He dubs himself as Popular Nobody, but his name is John Mosley. John, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, brother, man? Thanks for reaching out to me, asking me to be a part of this. We have talked about it, and finally it's here.
Well, you have a podcast too, which I want to talk about, but also, we had this idea for a long time, and I realized I'm closing in on the end of season 2, and I just could not have a season 2 without including you, because I love that every time we get to meet up. You are so warm and so awesome every time we get to talk, and we always end up just getting this really great conversation about education going. And so I'm stoked to get to know you a little better today, and I'm stoked for my listeners to get to know John Mosley today.
Man, I'm excited, brother. Thanks for having me. And it's random. It's like we'll see each other. It's like a 5-minute, very impactful conversation, and then it's like we disappear.
Yeah, and there's no love lost in between time. I think it's cool because one of the reasons I started this podcast and one of the reasons why I love doing it is because I think the conversations we have out of the public eye, the ones where we're not on stage sharing stuff, we're not on Instagram, I think the conversations that all of us artists have with each other are the things I look forward to the most about hair shows.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk, let's give everybody a really quick backstory. Where are you? How did you get into barbering? Give us the 5-minute bio of John Mosley.
5-minute bio, here it is. Kid playing college football. Get tired of getting hit by grown men for free. Looks around, he sees this 25-year-old guy, 2 kids and a wife, playing the same position with the same dreams, making it to the next level. I said, yo, that will never be me. At 25, still wishing, hoping. At 25, I should have a life going for myself. And so that was kind of one of those days where it's like, do you sit back and let reality smack you in the face and do nothing about it, or do you do something about it? And so I didn't know at that point what I wanted to do, but I knew that chasing that dream was not going to be it forever. And so what happened was my mother is in the beauty industry. She's 46 years still in this industry. My sisters, both of them are in the beauty industry. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just go home. I'm going to say I want to be a barber. Everybody's going to love the idea. And then I could figure out what I really want to do in life while everybody celebrates that I want to do this. And I went home. My college coach called my mom, was like, yo, where's John? We haven't seen him. He was like, we had some recruits coming up looking for him, and he wasn't nowhere to be found. My mom was like, boy, where are you? And I'm like, I'm home. And she was like, well, why are you not in school? And I was like, kind of like, that shit's whack, you know? And I said, but I want to go to barber school. And it turned around, and 2 to 3 days later, I was enrolled in barber school.
Damn. Okay, now I believe the football 100%. Like, you are massive. You are, and I'm a pretty tall guy, but like every time I come up to you, I feel like I feel so tiny. How tall are you actually? Like, how tall are you?
I am 6'6", 320 pounds.
Damn, dude. Float like a butterfly, though.
Man.
Get a pair of clippers in your hand and light as air on stage. What is okay? So the football thing, I think sports was a big thing for a lot of people, especially through high school. And I know Matt Swinney before, Matt, and there was a similar thing for him. He was playing football and he got injured, and it took him out, and he had to change course. But you just made that decision. It wasn't about injury. It was about like where you wanted to go in life.
Right. Yeah. It had nothing to do with it. With sports, you're going to get injured. So I did have injuries, but the injury was not the deciding factor of where I wanted to see myself go.
But were you seeing barbering kind of as a stopgap at that point? Like, you weren't really thinking like, this is my long-term career, maybe I'll get into something else, but I'll just tell people barbering for now so my family gets off my back?
I didn't even want to do it. I just was trying to get people off my back. And I thought it was going to buy me enough time to actually figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
But my mom didn't give me any time to figure it out.
Okay. It's just like, that's it. All right. This is what you do now.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I didn't have an option. It was 3 days later, some clippers on the table. And I was like, yo, who's are those? She was like, those are yours, and you're going to enroll in barber school. So get ready. We have an appointment. I was like, shit, okay.
Being a legacy, though, I guess, like, did you ever feel like there was a pressure for you to go into that?
Nah, my mother never pressured me at all. My family never pressured me at all.
She just wasn't going to have you sitting around doing nothing.
Correct.
Yeah, I think you and I have the same mom.
You probably do.
How was barber school for you?
I hated it. Like the first 6 months, I hated it because it was like I didn't want to be there. I wasn't supposed to be there. This was a lie, and now I'm living in this damn lie. And after like the 6 month mark, I talked to my mom, and she was like, I showed her my work. I always kept, like, still to this day, I'm private about what I do. And I showed my mom my work. And she was like, if you actually put a little energy and effort into this, you might be good at it. And that conversation is kind of what sparked what you see now.
So you were like begrudgingly had talent.
No, I sucked at barbering, but she could see it. 46 years in the industry, she's seen a lot. So to be able to see her kid, I used to draw. So like to see her kid be able to paint a picture on a haircut, it might have not been the best, but she knew, like, okay, you got an eye. You just got to put some work into that eye. And I think that conversation is what sparked that, and it led me to doing it.
So that was kind of like the point at which things like pivoted for you and you actually gave a shit.
That's when I gave a shit.
Man, it's amazing what giving a shit will do for your talent. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that a lot of people get into things because they're naturally talented. I was not that kid. I got into hair for a million wrong reasons. I was not talented or have any natural ability to do this at all. And I just outworked everyone else. You know what I mean? I just worked my ass off and wanted it bad enough, I guess, That's
all it takes. It's like, how much are you willing to withstand? What are you willing to fight through? What are you willing to go through to get that reward? A lot of people give up. A lot of people say, then I'm cool. I don't see the reward. I didn't think I'd be sitting on a call with you, expressing like and telling my story, or I didn't think that I would be in some of these platforms that I'm hitting, because that wasn't never my vision of it. It just, through hard work, it worked.
But I mean, the thing is, though, is I think one of the reasons why I like you so much right away, and one of the reasons why I think you and I get along, though, is an abundance of work ethic. Like, people might not understand this, but I don't know anybody in the industry that outworks you, and that includes me. I mean, I know I do a lot of shit and I work hard, but like when you and I will talk about stuff and you'll tell me how many classes you've been teaching and how much you've been doing, like, I just try to get my head around it because the volume of stuff that you're doing is immense.
Bro,
where's that come from?
Never being satisfied, never being stagnant, never being okay in the position of life that you're in, never remembering your past, knowing where you come from and knowing the fights that you had to go through, so you don't want to go through those fights anymore. I think those are all the things that like will me to keep working the way I work. Like when people ask me where do I see my success, or where do I want to stop? Is it a barbershop? Is it schools? Is it blah, blah, blah? My answer is always the same. I don't know. I will never put a cap on my success, because the shit that I'm doing now, I didn't think I would be doing. So owning multiple businesses and stuff like that, I didn't think about that. But if I say this is my stopping point, then our mind is powerful. When we get there, we stop. So I don't know.
I agree with that. I've never actually set out with any specific end goal in mind. A lot of the stuff that I've done is just to see if I could. You know what I mean? Just to try to be like, well, I don't know, maybe I could. Let's give it a try. You know, one of the things I really admire about you, you're really strong at branding. Like your ideas are always well flushed out. They're full. They're got a lot of elements to them. And I'd kind of like to know a little bit about that. Like, I know the popular nobody thing is your brand, right? And I mean, like it's more than an Instagram name for you. It's become your brand. Like I see your hat, but even beyond that, you've really built that into something, you know. And I guess a lot of barbers, I think, want to know how you go about that. Like, I mean, I see a lot of barbers start with a logo, and then next thing you know, they're slapping stickers on like other people's products and all that kind of stuff. But for you, there's been a lot more to that. So first of all, where did the popular nobody thing come from?
So in getting into the barbering industry, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just be a success in the neighborhood and stay in the community locally and do what I do. And then I did that. And then I started getting phone calls to do photo shoots and magazines, celebrity work, movies, TV shows, all of this. But I never talked about it. And I was at first going with the barber JM. And I was like, why would I put myself in a box and only be able to have access to a small portion of the world when I know I'm greater than just being a barber? I knew that. And so I was like, I got to come up with something else. And one day, one of my boys was like, dude, your work is everywhere. You're like a popular nobody. And that's
it's like the best barber you've ever seen but never heard of.
So I was like, yo, I got to run with this. And that's literally how it came about.
Now, when did you start that kind of celebrity work and stuff? Because I know you were doing like a lot of sports people and you were working in like a lot of different facets and stuff like that. But where did that come from? Like, how did you get into that? Did you just fall into that accidentally, or was that something that was a little bit more calculated?
It was not calculated. Only some of them were calculated, but most of them wasn't. Most of it was that old saying, treat the janitor like the CEO. You never know when you're in the barbershop who's coming to sit in your chair. And so I had guys that was baseball players for Long Beach State. I had basketball players at Long Beach State. I had basketball players at USC, the football team at USC. I had Interscope record execs coming all to the hood to get their haircut.
Damn.
And so just by me being me, the conversations grew to like, yo, come check my boy out. My boy, John, he'll cut you. He'll cut you. When you come to LA, this is the guy. And so through word of mouth, what we tell everybody that comes underneath us and like, how do you get it? How do you get it? It's like you treat the janitor like the CEO and you never know who you touch and talk to. And that's really how it all happened.
Now, forgive me, but it seems, and I agree with you totally, but it just seems so backward to the way people are trying to do it now. You know what I mean? Where it's like people are trying to capitalize on the names that they cut. They're trying to capitalize on the exposure that gets. They're trying to let everybody in the world know, even if they don't cut that person more than one time, it seems like everybody claims to be that person's barber. And Instagram has become this thing where everybody is so self-promoting to that. It seems like wasted opportunity, but you're saying that you built that the old school way, first of all, by word of mouth, but also just through being really down low about what you were doing, like not promoting that, you know what I mean? Not talking about that. I've always thought that a lot of those people that work in the celebrity world are usually quite discreet about who their clients are, because I know their clients value that. I mean, I have a couple of people, nobody like crazy big, but I know that they value that discretion. Is that something that you found when you were working in that world?
So one thing about me is I have I have mentors, and two of them are my mother, who, like I said, 46 years in the industry. My sister, 20-something years in the industry. And so my sister works on the celebrity side of things. She traveled the world by the age of 25, so doing hair. And so she works in Hollywood still to this day. So any questions I ever had or any of those conversations ever came up, I could go right to her and have that sit down. And so that was one of the things that was always taught to me, like, yo, these people don't need their business blasted. And so goes back to the name, popular nobody. I touch a lot of celebrities and you don't see them on my Instagram. My work has been on TV. My work is on TV all the time, but you don't hear me talking about it. Why? because I don't want people to look up to me for that reason. I don't want to be that guy. I want you to look up to me for me being able to opening up businesses and starting a brand and helping other human beings out. Not the fact that I'm cool because I touched Kendrick Lamar for 8 years. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I think it's really important though that everybody wants to be respected for the virtue of their own abilities, not just their connection to someone else who has abilities.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's awesome. But I think like you got to forgive me for asking though, but do you have like any really ultra crazy scenarios that you've been in where you're like, holy shit, this is blowing my mind right now?
Yeah, I was in the studio with D12.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, that qualifies. That qualifies. It's fucked up.
yeah, I was in the studio with D12, and it was so cloudy in there to try to cut hair in a cloudy room with no light in the studio. If I would have got pulled over by the police that night, it was no way I could tell them I didn't inhale.
No plausible deniability at all.
Yeah, I've been. It's some more. I've been on the road, man. I've been on the road for a long time, and it's like I've been with celebrities. I was cutting a Major League Baseball team in the clubhouse, and the piss test doctor was right there next to me. So I'm cutting hair. They're pissing in the cup, and it's like, oh, okay.
Do not need to see that. But is that like, what's that life like? You know, like, I think a lot of people think that that's made it. That's what they want. That's their end game. You know what I mean? For so many young barbers out there. But what is that really like?
It sucks. And the reason why it sucks is because you're on call 24/7 like a doctor. And then the pressure of if you don't answer, they're going to get somebody else. You know what I mean? So I think so many young barbers spend this time trying to be that guy, trying to be that one guy, and live off of that celebrity's clout. And it's like, listen, man, go just do you. Go be you. Go build who you are. Make that celebrity live off your clout. Like, you know what I mean? Like, make the celebrity tell people like, yo, I got the best barber on the planet. You know what I mean? Sorry for the light trick, Keith.
No, that's fine. It looks disco.
Yeah. So, you know, like, that's
I was talking to Buddy Porter a long time ago, like last season, about because he works with a lot of celebrities too, and we talked about the power of saying no. Like, there's a point in your career where you really want to say yes to everybody, and you say yes because you have the time, because you have the need, and you're hungry, and you know you're going after it, and you got to say yes to everything. But there comes a pivotal point in your career where it's important to start saying no, and that's really what starts to build your own clout. Do you agree?
Super agree.
So,
like,
when you got to that point, did you notice a shift in your clientele?
As far as celebrity?
Well, just as far as you being happy behind your chair doing what you do.
Yeah, one thing my mother always told me, she said, never get too big for your own house. And what that meant was always, like, respect the shop that you work at. Always respect the clients that pay your bills every week, and never lose focus and never lose sight of that, because no matter what superstar you become, you need a home. And so that always set well with me. So when I was doing things on the road, or when I had to leave and go do celebrities, my clients knew, and my clients respected that, and I respected them as well. Like, if I had to leave on a Saturday, I'll come back in on a Sunday to take care of those guys that I had to cancel out on, or things like that. And then I got to the point to where, like you said, just saying no. I had to start telling celebrities, like, no, I'm not available, and I have to serve my community before I can serve you, because you're paying my bills right now, but they're paying my bills forever.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I think that really translates back to what you were saying, though. You treat the janitor like the CEO. You know what I mean? And we want to attach ourselves to everybody that has that coolness and that clout, but we do that often at the expense of the people that are really paying our bills. You know, the people that are really, not only that, but the people that are cheering for us, not just cheering for themselves.
Correct.
Man, that's awesome. So, okay, once you got out of that aspect of things, I mean, I imagine you still do quite a bit of that, though, yeah?
Yeah.
Where do you find the fucking time? Like, because you teach a lot. Like, I mean, I know we're talking right now, it's still tail end of quarantine right now. And I know that we've all been down, and I know that education is looking very, very different for the last little bit. But where do you find the time to do that and teach as much as you're teaching?
Funny thing is, I never stopped teaching even during quarantine.
What were you doing?
I was doing Zoom calls. I actually just became the director of a Paul Mitchell School here in Arlington, Texas.
Ooh, good for
So,
you. Congratulations.
thank you. So I'm the director of the Barbering program here in Arlington, Texas. And so I wake up, my routine every day is wake up at 8:30 in the morning, make sure I hop on my morning leadership meeting calls and team calls. And then from team calls, I jump into theory and make sure that the theory class is running smooth. And then I go into specialty classes and make sure that's running smooth. Some classes are taught. And then after that, I was doing guest artist spots from all the schools around the network, giving them an hour of my time. And just some days I did 8 classes in a day. So that's 9 hours of work where I'm just talking over Zoom to, it could be from 4 students to 1,000 students. And so that's like my every Monday through Friday routine. I still work in my barber shop during the week as well. And I still do celebrities. Like Google has been an amazing app for me to be able to set my calendars in different colors and move things around and shift things and, basically trying to block out and schedule stuff the right way.
Yeah. Like, that's where that athletic kind of like, that's what I'm looking for, like stamina comes from, you know what I mean? Because like, honestly, like I've taught a couple of classes over this time too. I've done a couple of charity drives and some stuff like that. And after about an hour and a half, man, like I'm tired. I talk a lot. You know that. You and I have seen each other. I talk a lot. But shit, like I'm exhausted. I can't imagine doing 8 of those in a day. Like that's such a crazy work ethic.
Bro, it's an amazing work ethic. Like it's crazy, but it's amazing. Like I'm super blessed that I don't mind working that hard. Like I just pulled up my June calendar. You want to see it?
Yeah. Oh shit. Okay, hang on. I gotta stop talking so it shows this.
There it is. That's what June looks like.
That gives me anxiety. That actually gives me anxiety. That
Hold
looks
on.
like my travel calendar when we're busy.
That was May.
You're killing me. You're killing me. But I mean, I know that also when amidst all this, it's interesting because we can do a lot with Zoom now, right? I mean, like this is an amazing technology. We can do a lot just from our living room at this point. But I remember like I would still be at a lot of events and I would see you everywhere. And I know the toll that travel takes too. Like doing a lot of travel can be very difficult. You know what I mean? It can be exhausting, and amount of time just spent getting to and from events and then coordinating and organizing and all that kind of stuff. So like, how does that factor into your life moving forward now with this new role?
I just adjust. I made sure, like when I take on a new role or any situation, I make sure that I'm very open about what my normal schedule looks like and how can I work, what hours are going to best benefit the situation, and how is it going to work moving forward. And and that's one thing I think people try to lie to get a job. And it's like, don't lie about it. Just be open and honest. If they like you, they love you, they're going to work with whatever you can give them. And so that's how I go into it. I don't try to take on stuff that I can't handle. I don't accept jobs that I don't think is going to be beneficial, not just financially, but for my team as well. I got a team of artists that work with me and believe in my vision as the Popular Nobody brand. And so I always try to keep that in mind when I'm signing contracts and doing things. It's either partnership, because my sister told me that she was like, brother, you're unemployable. And I was like, what do you mean by that? She goes, your vision is way greater than any company will ever be able to give you. So because you're unemployable, like you have to have partners, and it has to be partnership deals. And so that's really what I focused on in the past year and a half, is just getting partnership deals.
Wow. So like, what does that look like for your brand? Like, how do you describe your brand now?
Now we're international. We're a global brand now. And even in this pandemic, people was like, did you get the startup money or like for the stimulus for the small business? I said, I'm not taking no money as a small business because I'm not a small business. I'm not going to think small. I don't want no free money. And people like, you're crazy. I said, nah, that's just me. I'd rather work for everything I have. I don't want to owe nobody when I get done with it. So if I don't owe nobody, for me, I'm fine, and I'll keep working my business the way I work them, and that's that. And so now
we should get you on a couple of calls with some of those like publicly traded companies that were just fine taking the money. We should really get them on the phone and be like, "Hi, this is John Mosley. I want to have a chat with you."
Yeah, I just see things different. Like, why take something you're gonna owe back anyway? Like, just keep building what you're doing. Like, turtle pace, elephant imprint. That's what my boy Vinny told me. He was like, bro, keep moving at your turtle pace, but leaving that elephant imprint. And that's what we do as a brand. I got dogs that work with me. I think I got some of the most talented artists, if not the most talented artists on the planet that work with me in the brand. And so I'm just thankful for having the right people around me. My circle is the size of a hula hoop.
Yeah, I like that. Keep everybody nice and close. I think like when you talk about your brand though, are you talking like, are you aspiring to be like more of a product brand, or are you an education brand, or what is it that you really want to create?
Honestly, Maddie, the way we're building it out is education. Think education, but then also think supreme.
Yeah, okay.
So we do limited runs like this limited run of hats, limited run shirts, limited run items, and then you don't see them no more. We create the demand and get away from it, and then move on to the next thing. And so that's where we vision. That's where I vision.
It's kind of a collectible thing, you know what I mean? Like you have to get it when it's there, you know what I mean? And it becomes like a premium thing that y'all want to own. Because I've been staring at that hat this whole time. So I realize I'm gonna have to go on eBay now and probably pay well more than somebody paid for it. But
Maddie, I didn't know you wear baseball hats, bro.
You know what? I'm a hat enthusiast. I've been growing my hair out since this quarantine thing, and it's so freaking long right now, and my girlfriend won't let me get it cut. So it's like I just got these wings now, so hats really help me out.
Yeah, I got a little length too now,
That's the longest I've seen you.
Yeah, man. So after this is what I'm gonna do. You send me your address in a text message, and I'm gonna put you a Pop the Nobody kit together.
Oh man, you all heard it here. So that's an endorsement. I'm getting that.
I'm gonna send you a cape. I'm gonna send you a comb set. I'm gonna send you a hat. Send you some stickers, man. I'm gonna put a nice little package deal for you.
Oh man, I appreciate you. I'm gonna return that favor. I got some victory shit headed your way too. I appreciate you. Okay, so how big is your team at this point? How many people are we talking?
We have 20 artists.
That's huge.
And it's not even, and when people, the misconception is people look at me and say, because I'm a barber, they think it's a barbering team. No, we have everybody. Makeup artists, microbladers, we have cosmetologists, we have barbers, we have everything under the sun.
That's incredibly cool. That's awesome. I love the idea of like increasing more of a lifestyle. And I want to applaud you for what you said earlier too about the idea of not limiting yourself to one thing, having a vision that's bigger than your circumstance. You know what I mean? I remember even when we first started our shop, people were like, what are we going to call it? And I was like, oh, I'm going to call it Victory. They're like, oh, you're going to call it Victory Barbershop. I'm like, no, I'm going to call it Victory Barber and Brand. I didn't have a brand at that point. I had no idea what it took to build a brand or do anything else. I just called it that with the anticipation that I was going to eventually want to do that. I didn't want to limit myself to just being a thing. And it was interesting. I see a lot of similarities in people that always like shoot for much larger than they are. You know what I mean? And have faith in their ability to step into that and grow into that. You know what I mean? And you've clearly done that, man. Good for you.
Thank you, brother. And now we're about to release the Nobody Way Foundation.
Oh, tell me about that.
So I just put together a nonprofit organization called the Nobody Way Foundation. And for so long, I'm pretty sure this resonates with you. People have told you all the time, like, you couldn't do it. You're not going to be able to do that.
I've learned, and I've said this so many times, and it's my favorite saying now, and I'm sorry if it's offensive, but I've realized that in life, there are few sweeter feelings than proving a motherfucker wrong.
Right. And so, I said, with everybody telling me what I can and cannot do, I did it my way. And I'm going to continue to do it my way. And so why not do a Nobody Way Foundation? And so that foundation is built off of like Marshawn Lynch community based, but LeBron James education school. And so what I want to do is give youth, battered women, men, everybody an opportunity to get into an industry that has given me and so many other of my team members an opportunity to be great. And so that's what we're putting together for the Nobody Way Foundation, giving back into the community, but also getting people scholarships to get into beauty schools, fashion schools, whatever. Our world is full of creatives now. And so when you hear the Popular Nobody team, you actually hear Popular Nobody Collective, because we're a collective group of creatives. And that's what the world is. And so we want to give back to the creative minds, but give them an opportunity at a young age to strive to be successful.
Man, that's fucking awesome. Like, how do I donate?
I'll text you the link. It's crazy. I'll text you the link. So the website is not even live yet. So I've just really been open about talking about it this week because we're so close to it being completed. But I'll text you the link so you can check it out.
I feel like we just got the hot scoop on that. Everybody gonna know about it after this weekend. I'm posting this Sunday. Everybody gonna know about this now. You're screwed now. You better get that shit ready. But you know what? Like, it seems you've been really, really productive in the quarantine. I mean, I know I've been busier during the quarantine than I was before, and it seems that you've been that way too. You've been just flying in all directions at this point.
Maddie, if I could give anybody advice, it will be, once you get to a certain level, you have to understand you won't be able to do it by yourself. You need a team of people. And the problem that most people have is they don't want to spend money to make money, or they don't want to spend money to get things done the right way. I spent so much time fixing problems and spending more money fixing problems that I tried to do on my own, that now I realize like it's okay to hire somebody to do it, that's what their specialty is. And then you continue to push the way you do. And that's how I've been able to get a lot of this stuff done. Like, I rely on my team a lot to do some idea stuff for me. And I have an idea team as well, where I'll start up with the idea, but if I don't if our ideas all sound great to you. How many victory ideas have you had that you're like, yeah, that's the one? And then somebody else come up to you and be like, boy, that's dumb as hell. And
yeah, I'd say like the lion's share of the ideas I have, that happens to me.
Yeah, so you see what I mean? So it's like working with a celebrity. I worked with T.I., and he was like, you need an idea team to be successful. You need to have 5 people in your circle that you trust, and you could view their opinion and you don't get upset. And I have that. And so the ideas come to me and I give them to them. And if they don't like them, we don't roll with them. So whenever you see anything, like even down to this hat went down through 5 different people.
It worked. I'm still staring at the hat. It worked. That's great. But where do you find those people? Like, I mean, for me, shit, man, I'm upstairs packing boxes to ship out to people when they order them, right? And I'm like writing little notes, and I'm texting people. I'm calling stockists just to connect and say, hey, I'm doing a lot, and I have a very small team around me as well. But where do you find those people to be your ideas people? Where do you find those people to bring around you that are those specialists? How do you roll in those circles, or is there a place that you go looking for those people?
Honestly, I don't go looking. I let people come to me, and you have to be able to see who's an opportunist that's going to try to eat off of your opportunity that you give them. And you got to always hope that the opportunity survives the opportunist. And so luckily, with having a team of such a large group of people, it's more eyes than myself. So everybody if it's 20 of us, whoever's trying to be 21, you're getting 20 pairs of eyes on you. So if you fart and somebody didn't like the smell, I'm going to know you didn't eat.
I mean, it's kind of the same as a barbershop, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, you're only as strong as your weakest barber as a shop.
Right.
right? And so, I mean, when you have people that are invested in that shop's success, I mean, everybody looks out for each other. You know what I mean? So do you think it's more important to hire for integrity or talent?
I'm integrity.
Yeah, I'm integrity too. I feel like talent can be a learned thing, but when you're looking for people that are specialists in things, that can get a little hazy.
Yeah, for me, I could teach a bum how to cut hair. I can't teach a bum how to be a good human. So
Yeah.
if you're a good human, I might take the chance of working with you because I do have 20 plus, 20 people around you that's all going to feed into you. And that's one thing I love about our family, which is the team, is because we all feed into each other. Like every Thursday night, we have a Zoom call every Thursday, and it's open to the rest of the world. And we let people in and we love on those people. Like my wife will help somebody with foil work on Instagram off of the Zoom call. And it's like, just we dive in and we give so much support out to people that, it's people want to be a part of something. And I look at it like if Hairbrain got a community popular, nobody need one too.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot of room for a lot of different communities inside of this thing. I think it's really interesting to see, especially lately in the last couple of weeks, I think a lot of those communities have come under pretty heavy scrutiny and pretty heavy fire. It's like, right? I mean, it's like all of a sudden everybody just jumping on everybody, and I think it's an interesting thing to watch and sit back on. And have you been paying attention to much of that stuff? Are you affected by any of that at all?
Yeah, I'm affected heavy, bro. I'm getting phone calls, like interviews like crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not going to call some people out, but what I will say, the people that have reached out to me, I've been able to talk and have civil conversations on how they could grow and do better for the African American artists, but not just for African American artists, for all artists in general. It's like when one posts, they all post the same one. And it's like, you got to do better, and I reached out to two specific ones, and I got ignored. My message got seen, but I ain't getting no response. And, I'm giving them 48 hours before I do blast them.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. Like I see, I mean, I'll be totally open about it. This last 2 weeks for me has been incredibly emotional and incredibly eye-opening and sobering in a lot of ways that I never realized I needed. And I'm spending a lot of time shutting my damn mouth for a change and trying to listen and learn and take in as much as I can and grow from a lot of things. And the things that I've been learning have really made me turn inward and examine my own life. You know what I mean? Like that's my natural response, is to examine my role in everything, how I respond, what my actions are, how I need to be better. I know that a lot of people are dealing with their own feelings of maybe shame or guilt or association by silence and things like that, where it seems that do you think they're doing the right thing by calling out and jumping on top of everyone, or do you think that is it too much reaction? I don't know what to think of it all, to be perfectly honest. What do you think of it all?
I'm going to say, to me, honestly, and I'm sure a lot of other African-American artists, but probably feel the same way, but I can only speak for myself and the people I've spoken to, is that it's corny as hell. Like, now you want to donate money to Black Lives Matter, or now you want to post all these Black artists, and now you want to show all of this awesome African-American work and talent. Mm-hmm. But why? Why now? Because it's been going on. Like, Maddie, how many times have you seen me at the same show? And I'm probably one of the only Black guys at some of these booths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's sad. It's very sad. And that's why I feel like a lot of times it's my obligation to help pull up the artists that I have with me, because they're all minorities in my book, because in the industry, we're minorities. We still get blackballed. Like, some of the stuff that I go through, bro, like, has been crazy. And I don't talk about it. I just smile about it, and I just keep doing it because I know my success makes those same people that say anything they got to say negative about me hurt even more because I'm successful. And no matter what you say, it's not going to break me, and it's not going to break the people around me. And I just wish that it wouldn't have took this scenario to get these pages to start showing that type of love. But like I told a lot of companies that I've been on calls with, and I said, now it looks like, hey, we have Black friends too. Like, and to me, that's so trashy. Like, don't do that. But are you going to stop once all of this goes away? You got to keep the same energy level, because if you stop, it's going to create a bigger problem in our industry. Moving past that, it's like you only did it to everybody's reactive right now.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
let's
and it
see.
seems like it's like the trend, or so to speak. You know what I mean? But I'll even admit, like, for me, I think it came out of like a feeling of revelation, and part of the shame of that is around the idea that why now? Like, why not before? Why so complacent before? You know what I mean? And that's part of the heaviness of it is why. But nonetheless, it's like I feel this impetus to do something about it. If I've got a voice in this industry, for whatever reason that is, I feel a responsibility to do something, because I look at people like you, and I mean, you and I are just friends, you know what I mean? And I've never thought of myself in those terms, but nonetheless, like when you feel subject to a system where the odds are stacked so heavily in the favor of one and so heavily against another, the one starts to, when you realize they're so heavily stacked for you, you feel like you have a responsibility to do something. So what do we do?
I think we just keep coming together and pushing the line together. Like, one thing that we have seen about this protest, minus the looting.
Yeah.
That's
not protest though. That's opportunism.
That's people running their own agenda, you know. But one thing we have seen is that now, if you look at the times, kids in this generation, they didn't grow up now with racism. All they know is like, this is my friend. You got white people standing in front of Black people fighting. You got the Black people angry because this has been something going on for 400 years. And now all these people are now looking at it and saying, damn, they have been getting treated wrong. They have been, like, Maddie, for me to stand on the same stage with you, you know how hard I have to work just to get the eye. Like, if I did a African-American haircut, curly, extra curly, whatever we want to call the hair texture, if I did 1 million of those, they will never get the same look as if I hopped on stage and did a straight haircut.
Yeah.
Never.
Why do you think that is?
Honestly, I think because you got to look what's behind it. Product companies rule our industry, and they're paying for certain things to happen. And if that product company is not an African-American company that have enough money to actually are the support to get those looks on stage, then what? If every image that you see pushed out is a comb over, a pompadour, some crazy shit from Josh LaMonica, some Barbara Josh P.O. Like, if that's the images that you see, that's the images that you think that everybody wants. But that's not necessarily, like, Andis Clipper Company. Their biggest demographic of buyers are African American. So are you pumping out what you feel the industry want to see, or are you pumping out what your consumer is relating to? And to me, I think that's where the problem, like, for me to stand on the stage at Cosmoprof show, I have to work 10 times harder than the next person. For me to work, I have, like, and not just me, any African American artist have to work that much fucking harder just to get that one opportunity.
And that's the shit that I think is so frustrating. As somebody that owns a product company, as somebody that spends a lot of time on stage, one of the reasons why I don't do those things on stage is because I would embarrass my damn self. Like, if you want to teach, and I'll put this out, anytime you want to get on a stage with me and teach me that haircut in front of a bunch of people and teach me how to do that shit better, I will spend my stage time doing that. If that would be something better, because truth be told, I'm afraid of it because I don't know it. And I get a lot of barbers that come up to me that are people of color that come up and they're like, can you teach me how to do this shit? Because I don't ever see it and I don't ever get to do this stuff. And as soon as you take a clipper out of my hands, I don't know what to do. And my response is like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I would love to show you, only if you can show me how to do what you do. Because we all have something to teach. But do you think the division comes at that? Or do you think that that is just now a symptom of the division that has existed for too long?
I think it starts in the school levels. Like, it starts back in education. If someone goes to school and their teacher don't know how to do it, they're not going to learn how to do it. So then when they get into the industry, they're not going to know how to do it. And then when they turn back around, and it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. Like, one thing I am super proud of is the fact that I can cut straight and curly.
Dude, you can do everything. I've seen you do everything. But like, I have two clients of my friends, my black friends, two dudes that will let me cut their hair. First of all, I know a lot more black people that, but only two of them are brave enough to let me do it. And I have this one image that I posted of like a high top that's like kind of farrowed out and stuff like that. That shit took me 4.5 hours to get it to look cool enough to take a photo of, and I see it busted out in a barbershop in like 25 minutes. So that's the reality of it for me, is like, I could never do that on stage because it would take me forever, but I want to learn it so bad. And I love going to shows to watch that. That is exactly what I watch, because that's what I suck at. And I think a lot of people like to go and watch what they can relate to instantly, but I am a person that always looks at the shit that I suck at. Where am I weak? And that's what I need to focus on. That's what I want to see happening. So I am somebody that wants to see more of that at hair shows desperately so that I can learn it.
I'm going to teach you.
Yeah, I want that, man. I'll take you up on that.
I'm going to teach you. So it's so crazy. Like, and that's what I mean. Like, I would love the opportunity for these repost pages or everybody, right? Give me a chance. I don't, and I'm not, I never toot my own horn, but I cut anything that sits in my chair. I don't know too many people that can do that. But instead of looking at my talent in that aspect and being like, yo, this dude is lethal because he could cut European style haircuts. He could cut extra curly, wavy, curly, straight. He could do whatever. But that's not looked at.
But what really sets you apart, and forgive me, I'm going to toot your horn now because I know you don't like to do it yourself, but what really sets you apart is that not only can you do those things, but you can teach the hell out of them. Like, you are so articulate when it comes to your vocabulary that you use to apply to technical stuff. And it's so easy to follow and understand. And I mean, that's a challenge no matter who you are. That's a challenge. You know what I mean? There's so many educators out there that are like, watch me do a haircut, and here it is. They have a very hard time putting language to it. You know what I mean? And putting like a follow this and understand what I'm doing, not just watch what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And that's an area that sets you apart. You don't just do it all, you teach it all.
Yeah. And
why do you teach? Like, why did you get into teaching? Why didn't you just, like, you were successful and crazy talented and you have a A-list clientele. Why didn't you just sit back and make money?
Because I got to be the change. I got to. Think about the shit that's happening right now. If I just sat back and made money, some other kid would not see my face and be happy to do what we do. You know, they'll think they never had of a chance. But look at the companies I represent. Paul Mitchell being, the biggest one. Like, I'm a brand ambassador for their product. Like, I'm the face of their product. So think about how many kids that actually give hope to. And you know, like, that's why. If I could get up on stage and say something articulate, no matter what I come out wearing, if I came out in jorts and chucks and looked real West Coast, are you going to call me urban, or are you going to call me educated by the time I'm done? And that's why I do the things that I do. That's the reason why I dress the way I dress on stage, because I'm still taking a piece of what I come from and showing the world it's okay to love me for who I am. Don't judge me by the clothes, but judge me about how I'm about to execute and perform what I love. I'm going to show you my art. I'm going to show you my heart, and I'm going to always welcome you with love. But we got to get past the fact. And that's why I said, I don't, it's a couple of awards I feel like I should have won. Never won. It's a couple things that I should be even in conversation nominated for. Never get it. But when you go down my resume, everybody that they glorify in front of me, my resume kills those. And so is it because of the fact that I sit back and I'm humble and I don't brag about my accolades? Or is it the fact that you just don't feel like I'm good enough? And if you feel that way, then come talk to me or email me, and I'll just send you my bio. I'll send you my resume. I'll send you my stats. I'm African American. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I own a shop. I'm a director of a school. I wrote a curriculum for Paul Mitchell. I work for Andis. I work for Hanzo. I own my own production company. I have my own brand. I have 20 artists. What can you say to knock me?
One of my favorite things, one of the words that I know you're talking about, I was actually on the panel. I wasn't the only judge, obviously. I was like one of 20 judges. But my favorite thing is that I saw your work in that thing, and I voted for it without knowing whose it was. And I think the thing about it is that good work is good work. Resume be damned. Good work is good work. And I agree with you. I think you should be much more celebrated than you are. I have always loved and admired your talent. I love it more because of who you are. Because even though you are a big, physically intimidating presence, you are one of the kindest and most genuine people I've met in this thing. You're never putting on falsehoods. You're never being anybody other than yourself. You lead by example, and I think you set the bar extraordinarily high for everyone to follow you. You should not have to work that hard, but I'm glad that you do, and I'm proud of the man that you are, and I am very proud to be your friend.
And Maddie, I appreciate that, brother. And you know, we knew exactly what I was talking about, you know, when it comes to awards and shows like that. And it's like, I don't use Photoshop. I don't use fiber in my work. What you see from me is my hands and my God-given ability to do what I do and create art. I don't need the extra stuff to make my work look better than somebody else's. That's what my clients really pay for. And for me, like, just to hear you say that you voted for my work without knowing who it was, that's just an honor, because I put so much energy and effort to not just being a great teacher, but to being a great barber. And that's something that really I want people to understand. Like, I adapt to whatever situation I'm into, but I know 3 years of not winning one of those awards, the only reason I was there last year was because the company that I'm a face of their product for asked me to be there. But I had took a stand with my team and said, I'm not doing it anymore, because every winner above me, every winner that won, let's put their photo up against mine and take Photoshop away, take fibers away, and let's put those photos together all 3 years and tell me I don't deserve one of those 3.
I think you definitely do. I think one of the challenges that we're all up against right now is exactly what you just said, enhancement. We've changed the game entirely for what people see and what people expect as natural and what people expect as realistic. And it's trickling down to clients coming in and being disappointed with the haircut because it doesn't look like the photo, which isn't real. The people that are judging these things, not necessarily qualified to even know what they're looking at, or even understand how to achieve those results, and that they're not something you can do with a pair of clippers in your hand. There's something you can do with like a mouse and a keyboard, and or an air gun or something like that. And I think that that's an even bigger problem in a lot of ways, because I see this stuff is getting celebrated. And as a hairstylist for 25 years now, as a barber for 10, I can look at something and tell you it's not real instantly. I can tell you that's not possible. I can tell you like this is not a real thing that we're looking at. A surprising amount of people can't tell that.
And that's why they need to have real people with a voice, an eye, and education behind them sitting in those rooms too, to go along with people like you and whoever else is in there, because it's disappointing and it's very heartbreaking when I see somebody else that's a young talent that believe in cutting hair the same way I do and not putting those fibers, and they don't get a shot either. And now you just made that person feel like in order for them to get a shot, they have to falsify their work.
Yeah, we're discouraging people with actual talent from believing in themselves.
Correct.
Man, that's heavy. I think you're right, though. I think you're absolutely right. I think, what do you have you ever thought about what that would look like otherwise, like how we can avoid something like that, or what we need to do collectively to make that less of a negative impact on our industry?
Like I said, getting the people higher up got to have these conversations with people like me.
Yeah,
I travel the world. I hear it all. I see it all. I've been I've been affected by racism in this industry. I've been affected by opportunity in this industry. I've been affected by all of the negative things and the positives. So I could stand in the middle and speak for both. I understand both sides, but I'm always going to speak for what's right. And the shit that we see going on right now in our industry is not right. And not too many people want to speak on it because they're afraid to lose their position. I'm not afraid because I've already set my own table.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's only a threat if you rely on someone else. But if you built it on yourself, I swear on stage because I can't get fired.
Right.
And that's just who I am. It's just real. Like I will never stop being authentically who I am. You know what I mean? I'm not capable of it.
And people love you for the fact that you'll get up on stage and you'll say what you want to say. And think about how much stuff is so fake in this world. Real always win.
Yeah. It's got staying power. You know what I mean? Because trends are kind of get looked at as flaky over time. You know what I mean? You don't have any stability there. You just chase whatever's popular. And maybe that's the problem with what we're talking about right now with the popularity of trying to be quote unquote woke. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to put negative connotations on that, but I think you know what I'm saying, where it's like the idea of like, look how it's the woke Olympics now. You know what I mean? Like, look how woke I am, when I think a lot of people can see through that, and maybe just authentic, genuine conversation is what's needed.
Yeah, bro, I done heard so much crap and seen so much crap, and it's like, I just wish some people would sit down and just have conversations with me. You know what I mean? And it's like it's so weird, bro, to have to even say that. Yeah. That you wish that somebody will give you an opportunity at a conversation to let them know how you feel about what they've done to you and other people, so that they can educate themselves and get better, so that they understand. Just because you got one person telling you something, you don't know all of it.
Somebody this week told me that before you can take a stand, you have to understand. And I think that a lot of people right now are taking a stand while still not understanding. I realize that that's a big part of it. Thank you for having a conversation with me. And thank you for taking the time out of what is obviously the busiest fucking schedule on earth. And thank you for being a friend, but thank you for talking honestly with me about this stuff. This has big for me. It's very meaningful for me to get a chance to have a conversation with you, and I know a lot of people probably really going to appreciate this.
Man, anytime you need me, brother, I always told you, even when I'm at a show and it's crazy, anytime you need me, anytime you want me, all you got to do is ask, and I'm going to be right there.
Well, I'm gonna take you up on that haircut lessons for that shit, because I'm gonna need it. Right. And if you ever want to do something together, man, like shit, yeah, you know, we've talked about that a long time too. We've talked about that a long time. Like I would love to share the stage with you anytime, man. I think you are a rare talent in this industry, and you are a credit to barbering.
I think we should cook something up, because like, think about it. You're a guy who is great at what you do, right?
Thank you.
But now just imagine if you added the other part of doing extra curly hair.
Oh man, triple threat.
Right. But then also your money goes up, because now you just opened your clientele up. And that's what people don't get. Most people brag about this guy who could only do one type of thing, but then look at somebody else and say, oh, well, you're not as good as them because you can't do it as good as them. Well, that's all they ever practice on. Like, I had to learn how to dribble, set the pick, roll, dunk, jump. You got to learn all of that, where some people just need to learn how to shoot a jump shot, and they still get the best check in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how you got to look at it. Like,
do you think that's part of it, though, the celebration of people that specialize versus the people that are really broad and maybe not specifically the best at any one thing but can do everything? Do you think the problem is right now that we're celebrating only the people that are just exceptional at just one thing?
75%. I think it's a little bit, it's a mixture. It's definitely a mixture. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we don't have those conversations of the people that can do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't get to see the whole thing. I actually always tell people when I'm in my classes and I'll show them images that I've done, because I think the only reason I got known or popular was because I was a half decent photographer when Instagram started. And I think a lot of people have surpassed me at this point. But when I first started, not a lot of people were good at photography, but I was all right at it. But what I keep telling people is, like, this haircut that you see in this photo, you can't tell if it's good from a photo, because you see what I want you to see. You see one side. You see one perspective. You don't know if it's the same on the other side. You don't know if it's balanced. You don't know how it looked like 3 minutes later when it all fell down. You don't know any of that stuff. Like, you don't know anything. You know what you see from this one limited perspective is all you see. You don't get to see the whole picture.
And that's facts.
Man, I wish we could just keep talking forever, but we have run out of time. And I want you to share with people, number one, what you're doing. How can they get a hold of you? How can they support you in your new endeavor with your charity, your foundation? How can they follow you? How can they learn more about Popular Nobody brand and what you're doing?
So the way that you could follow me is on my website, thepopularnobody.com. Be looking out for the Nobody Way, or just nobodyway.com. That's the nonprofit. Instagram, you can find me at popular_nobody. And that's pretty much where I live. That's where I'll be. I answer all DMs if they're about business and are having questions about how to grow yourself. So I'm always engaging, and I'm always willing to help. I lead with my heart and my hand open first to help, not to get paid. So all the time. And
I appreciate you very much. You guys, this has been my conversation with Mr. John Mosley at Popular Nobody. If you're not following already, you definitely should be. I appreciate everything you shared with us today, you guys. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for tuning into YouTube. You can check us out again next week. We're going to have our final installment of this season. But I want to thank again Mr. John Mosley for taking the time to spend with us today. I love you, brother. I cannot wait till we get to see each other and hug it out in person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, you guys. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again next week.